We opened, Nātv is the restaurant's name, April 5th, and we did a soft opening for about a week, and then we opened to the public the 12th. I've done culinary for about 17 years, and I've done every position that I can. Eventually, I was like, I want to open my own, and my husband was like, well, what food speaks to you? What's going to make your heart happy? And I was like, Native American food. I've wanted a Native American restaurant since I was very, very young, about 6, 7. I was like, I don't know why we don't eat more of this stuff, because we always had like a garden growing up, and we ate very much what we could locally and as fresh as we could. And I always just kind of imagine Indigenous food being like the best farm to table you could ever eat. Everything's really fresh, everything's non-processed, and I wanted to be able to bring that to a community where I seen that it was kind of lacking. So we have a seasonal menu, so it changes, but we did a bunch of research and kind of was like, what are other tribes, what do they eat? What were they eating before colonial times? There was a lot of nut flours, because we obviously didn't have flour and sugar. So we make a pecan cake, which is completely gluten-free because it is made from a nut flour. We use honey to sweeten it instead. So incorporating that into a more modern style. So we have duck, we have bison, we have ground bison, we have a beef fillet. We get our meat from the Quapaw tribe right now. They have a cattle processing plant. We ended up finding some local farms here to work with so we can get our produce, and then go to the farmer's market and get as much as we can. And then I talked to a bunch of other Native Americans. I was like, well, what are things that you like to eat? What are things you ate growing up? And one lady was like, great dumplings. My grandma used to make them all the time. And I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And then we don't add sugar into ours, we add honey instead. So we did a honeysuckle whipped cream with it to kind of make it a little bit sweeter and kind of give that mouthfeel of what it would be, but it makes it a little creamier too. So it's a really nice combination. And so we've kind of asked people for feedback of what they're looking for, because I don't want it to just be what I want. Like, I want to feed a community that doesn't have those options. So I was like, how can we elevate this so that people will try new things? And here we are. So I'm Shawnee. I am on the Cherokee roll, so that's how I am Indigenous. I found that like whenever I was little, like I remember like my grandpa cooking things like frog legs or weird stews that were a lot of stews in my life, I guess, and it's kind of my theme. But it feels good to eat that stuff because that's what our bodies are meant to do. That's what our souls are meant to do. And I do believe nobody should have that whole culture taken away from you, and a food is a good way to be able to talk about it, because you can talk about the fact that you lost your crops, you lost where you were living and eating, but they had to do the Trail of Tears, and they brought certain beans and seeds with them that they didn't eat along the way so that we could have them today. And it was a huge sacrifice, and we now get it, so we need to be respectful of that food.